猫がすごく、いろんな動物をなんか捕食してしまうみたいな言ってたけどさ、でもこれって多分猫の頭数が多いからじゃないの？
Welcome to the lazyfluency podcast, where we have casual conversations switching between English and Japanese so that you can learn from and with us along the way. I'm Joey.
And I'm Yami.
And the topic of the day is Japan's cat obsession. But before we get into that, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and or drop a review to the platform you're listening on. And if you feel so inclined, support us on Ko-Fi. We appreciate the support. And with that out of the way, Japan's cat obsession. Studies have shown that cats are responsible for the deaths of 9% of known birds, 6% of known mammals, and 4% of known reptile species. At the same time, people love cats, specifically Japan, and today we're going to talk about it. I feel like I need to make a disclaimer that neither Aimi nor I are cat people. I do have 2 cats. Aimi, how many cats have you had?
0.
0 cats. So, that bias needs to be known. But we are trying to have a discussion not only about the effects of cats, but specifically what's going on with, cats in Japan. And is Japan as catty as we think it is? 20 years ago, Japan actually had more dogs than cats. That I didn't even know this, but had 63.8% of owners had dogs, whereas only 28.1% had cats. As of 2023, this is no longer the case. And 60.9% of the animals between dogs or cats exist in Japan, and 39.1% are dogs. And in terms of owners, how many people own cats, it's 55.737% own cats, and then 44% own dogs. But the thing that's super interesting about this is, as for dogs, where I think it was only, 52,500 dogs are strays. For cats, it's 2,200,000. 2,200,000. So I guess one very, thing we started this conversation is, how many, do you think stray cats are a problem in Japan? And after that, I kind of ask you about your perception about whether or not you think they're cute and other stuff regarding cats. But
stray ってあれだよね。野良だよね。
Yeah.
野良犬、野良猫だよね。そうだよね。野良猫が多いのは、確かにそうだなとは思うし、で、実際私の大学ですごく野良猫が多いんだよね。広場が何個かあるんだけど、野良猫多分10匹以上いて、で、多分患者さんが、餌あげたりとか、誰かしら世話をしてあげてる人たちがいるから、多分彼らは生きてられてるんだろうけど、多分予想するに、猫ってさ、結構、家でするじゃん。猫って自分で散歩するからさ、そのまま外出て帰ってこないとか結構あると思うんだけど、多分それのせいで、いろんな猫が家に帰れなくて、で、多分その猫たちって多分去勢とかしてないだろうから、そこでまた猫が増えちゃって、で、問題になってるのかなっていうのは予想つくけどね。
Yes, we actually have it right here. The 82% of cats are not castrated, and 64% of dogs. And I will, just for numbers, when I said the numbers like 2.2 million versus 52,000, 1% of dogs don't have an owner, whereas 20% of cats, so a fifth. Just for some context, when I was talking about the 9% of known birds and animals in terms of percentages, so this was talking about in Australia alone, cats are estimated to kill more than 300 million animals every year. 300 million. That is insane. They're a mass murdering genocide. Animals. I don't think a lot of people are aware of that. And so, but at the same time, a lot of people, in my own cats, I think people have these very, they're very lovely and they're nice to their cats. And they think, that it's the right thing to do to let cats out because they want to go outside. This is something that I kind of keep in the back of my mind, but yeah, go ahead.
今さ、猫がすごく、いろんな動物を捕食してしまうみたいな言ってたけどさ、でもこれって多分猫の頭数が多いからじゃないの？
No, it's because cats are outside and they will attack birds, but basically at anything. They'll attack anything.
だからそうだよね。
dogs have the benefit of in some sense of sometimes they'll chase after stuff, but they kind of actually suck at catching anything. They're not good at climbing. They're not very agile. Even like and maybe actually no, this is a good segue. Let's talk about the types of animals they have in Japan, because this will recontextualize the problem. Because do you have the list, or I'm down to read them. You can read them out if you have it here. This is the types of animals bought in Japan, like the types of cats versus the type of dogs.
飼ってる犬種種類何の犬飼ってますか
So keep it in your mind. Let's keep. Do you think it's just a numbers thing, or do these types of dogs might also? How lethal do you think these are? So yeah, go ahead.
まあ一つ、一番多いのがチワワ。チワワ
Yeah, Chihuahua.
で、次がトイプードル。トイって、
トイ
ちっちゃいやつね。
Vicious?
そうそう。プロ。で、次柴犬だね。柴犬。で、その次がなんかミックスだからなんかとなんかの雑種かな。
Yeah.
で、次がミニチュアダックスフンド。
To be clear, so far that's 20%, 18%, 15%, 15%. So we're like the vast majority are those we just talked about.
そうね。
So nothing is too vicious so far.
で、ポメラニアンってちっちゃい？
Yeah. They have a big fluffy tail.
で、コーギーわかんない。コーギーって初めて聞いたけど。次コーギー。
They're also small.
で、次にゴールデンレトビーバーだから、結構、ここで初めて大きいの出てきたじゃん。
Yeah, at 4%.
から、まあ、そうね、なんか私ちょうどさ、どんな犬を飼うかみたいな話を、訪問看護してる、看護師さんとお話しして、で、その人はなんかね、予想通りチワワを飼ってるんだけど、なんか、やっぱりチワワとか、ちっちゃい犬の方が世話がしやすいし、家の中で飼うってなったら、やっぱり小型じゃないとさ、家の中入れられないじゃん。足洗ったりとか大変だから、ちっちゃい方がやっぱ好まれてるっていう印象があるね、日本だと。
My problem is I have these two different thoughts in my head. I'm like, part of me, I'm like on the, the dog squad, and I'm like, I want people, get some more love for the dogs here, and gotta, change this image of, only thinking Japan, cats are cute for Japanese people. But at the same time, oh my gosh, if you're gonna choose a dog, and I love all my dogs, and if you own a Chihuahua, I'm not hating your Chihuahua, but I will say Chihuahuas are probably the ugliest dog. And out of all the types of dogs, that's the most popular. Why in the hell is it Chihuahua? Every other one is so much cuter, and they're equally small. Why Chihuahua? Do you understand why Chihuahuas are popular?
チワワは可愛いと思うよ。なんかさ、ちょっとポイント
They're so ugly. No. They're not fluffy. They look like they just left the desert and they're about to die of starvation.
なんかなんだろうね、私は個人的にさ、なんか中型から大型犬可愛いなと思うんだけど、なんでかっていうとさ、一緒になんだろう、海辺を走ったり、なんか一緒になんか自転車に乗りながらちょっと連れて散歩したりとか、なんかね、一緒にアクティビティをしたい派だから、そうなるとやっぱり大きい方がなんて言うんだろうね、なんか一緒に遊んでる感あるから、そんな感じで、なんか好みは中から大型犬なんだけど、結構ね、他の人は小さい方がいいみたい。
I am wondering, and maybe you probably wouldn't know this because you're in the same, generation as well. And for people who aren't aware, one of the reasons that all these breeds are small, and there's something question I don't know, which is, can you even get big breeds in Japan? I'm not even sure, but I will know that property, most Japanese houses are pretty small, and more importantly, I think I just realized why it's Chihuahua. Do you know why it's Chihuahua? I think I just realized why.
ペットショップで売ってるのってさ、大体ちっちゃい犬たち
No,
だけだし。
but do you think why it's the most, why Chihuahua? I just realized why. What's a specific thing about Japanese people that's very different from Americans, would you say?
何や
Cleanliness. Chihuahuas don't have hair. They're very tight. It's like, they're not fluffy, furry.
でもトイプードルだって
no,
次じゃん。でもトイプードル結構毛ある。
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying is why Chihuahua's number one. And I think there's some also that are fluffy, but they shed less. So it's a whole other thing, but dogs. But yeah. There's one more thing I actually want to talk about before I think I want to ask you about why, why do you think maybe cats have come into popularity? I don't know if you have any thoughts about that. But this is like how you obtain cats and dogs is also very different in Japan. Are you able to find the statistics about basically the most common way dogs are obtained versus the most common way cats are obtained? Do you have the data or do you see it? This is the how do people get cats? Well, I mean, I can read it. So it basically says for dogs, 43% in Japan are obtained through a pet shop. Whereas for cats, the majority, so this is 29%, are obtained by just finding them on the street. So finding a stray. Or getting them from a friend.
なんか怖い。なんかさ、私ちょっと知識、まあ、知ってるのがさ、なんか猫でトキソプラズマっていうちょっとまあ感染しちゃってる猫だとさ、野生の猫をそのまま連れてき野良猫をそのまま連れてきちゃうとさ、それさ、なんか人間にかかっちゃいそうでちょっと怖い印象があるんだけど、どうなのね。わかんない。テストしようがないじゃんし、かかってるかどうかもさ、やっぱり病院とか連れてってかないといけないのかな。
I mean, the only thing, if I'm being honest, in Japan, I'm not, kawaii is a thought that never really crossed my head for pretty much anything. But I will say the only thing I'm concerned, and this is because my brother was in med school for a period of time, and he told me, one of the things he always mentioned to me is that if you didn't know, I don't know if we talked about this before, but cats have something called toxoplasmosis, I believe is how it's called.
Toxoplasmosis.
It's like a disease that they carry, or it's that cats commonly carry, but it kind of co-evolved with cats. Where if cats, what happens is, what happens is, I think when cats is that they get near, or they rub on like certain animals, or they're near them. I don't know how it can spread. Maybe through poop, it'll make other animals like cats more, be less scared of cats, so that cats are able to kill them more easily. But for humans, when they get infected by that, it can lead to a lot of issues. And from what I remember, it's not like curable, and so you just can get permanently dormant toxoplasmosis for most cats, and that's one of the reasons I'm strays or whatever, am more high alert about that. But I do find it interesting there's such a huge difference. Like I said, 43% pet shop versus cats, 29% is basically I found them, and 24% is I got them from a friend. And also, I think over here talks about 64, was down below, I can't remember, I had the math about basically a huge chunk of cats are strays, like said 2 million, so 20% of them, which means like 4 out of 5 or 1 out of 5 people didn't necessarily get rid of their cat. But I will say that it says like the biggest reason people get rid of their cats is because they lose the ability to take care of them. But what I don't understand about that is it's a lot easier to take care of cats. So I'm kind of confused. Do you have any thoughts about, like, is it just that cats have a lot of babies, or they put them outside and they forget about them, that you think there are a lot of strays and dogs can't?
私も個人的にそのね、猫を飼った経験がないから、どれぐらい猫を飼うのが大変とか大変じゃないとかよくわかんないけど、でも去勢したりとかもう大変なの？あれはなんだっけ、動物病院に行ってやってもらうってことだよね。わかんない。で、猫飼ってるジョイはどうしたの
？My pet situation is very weird. Almost all the pets I currently have were through some gift, I would say. I have one dog who may or may not have been someone else's dog, but their wife realized that the husband was abusing the dog, and they may or may not have given us the dog. Then I have a green canoer, a bird, who the owner was basically unable to take care of it, and so they gave it to us. And then I have two cats, one which our neighbors got, and apparently I'm having deja vu. I think we talked about this in the pandemic, but a huge amount of people in the pandemic, it was like 20% of households got a new family, or got a new family member pet during the pandemic, maybe as a support animal. My brother was one of those people, and my brother, after getting a cat, just like gifted it and then like this thing getting from relatives, and then the other cat was from a neighbor. A neighbor got a cat and then just gave us the cat. So I haven't even bought any of these animals, and we have four different animals. I mean, there's other ones like chickens and stuff like that. So with that said, normally what happens is if you go to a shelter or other place, they castrate them, or before you get them, unless they're a stray, in which case you have to do that as well. Have you ever owned any pet? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
ちょっと待ってね。
Have you owned a pet before? Just in general?
いや、金魚だけで、その金魚もさ、なんか水槽になんて言うんだろう、酸素のやつ、ポンプみたいなやつつけてもらえなくて一週間ぐらいでちょっとなくなっちゃったんだけど、まあそれは置いといてさ、でもさ、ジョイは猫を飼ってるじゃん。でそれがもらったって言ってたけどさ、そのもらった猫に対してはさ、何かテストしたりとか、その去勢したりとかをしたのかな
what was already done. The real problem that you have is this is something that Japan, apparently since you said Reiwa Yonen, which is 2023, I think, they started mandating microchips in Japan. But in the US, they're not mandated. But what happens, there are a lot of hospitals that if you're not the owner and they can like verify from the chip if they want, then they won't treat the animal, which has been annoying. But we have to end up going to like clinics that don't do that because they think we stole someone's pet, which is not entirely the case. Like I said, or it's not the case for all of them, and it's not entirely the case for one of them. Like I don't want to get too detailed, but one of the dogs we had was pretty severely abused by the owner. And it's like their wife gave us the dog and then had to pretend like it ran away. So it was a pretty bad situation, but the dog is happy now, so no worries about that. So that's unconventional. I've had a lot of pets though. I've had like 4 or 5 dogs. Yeah. Hamsters, guinea pigs, snakes.
マイクロチップの話してたじゃん。でマイクロチップが、動物愛護法がなんか改正されて、令和4年だから、去年かな？嘘じゃ、違う、2年前か。ちょっと今、令和4年。
2019 is 令和4年, I believe, which means that 4 years after that would be, yeah, I think. So I think 2023, 2022, 2023, it's one of those.
まあそうで、まあ最近さ改正されて、でなんかペットショップであったりブリーダーからそのペットを飼う人に対してそのマイクロチップをその猫犬のなんだっけ首の後ろになんか植え込むんだけど、なんかそれちょっと調べてたらなんだっけ、そのチップ自体は GPS 機能はなくて、だから携帯で自分のペットが迷子になった時にこの地球上のどこにいるかわからないらしいのね。でじゃあなんでマイクロチップやるかっていうと、例えばペットがちょっと迷子になっちゃって、で誰かしらが拾ったとすると、でその拾った人とか、施設とかがなんかそのチップを読み込んで、その飼い主がどこの誰っていうのがわかるためになんかやってるらしくて。
Yeah, which means you can... No, but it's the other way around. What that really means is they're basically like if you can identify somebody's, that means that you can give like obviously you can identify the owner is a good thing, but I think from a societal perspective, basically saying you can't just give away your cat or leave him go outside if you can't take care of it. You have to figure something out. Like that. Something that confuses me in America, I understand why it's a... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
ごめんね、なんかそれどう取るかあれだよね、ちょっと二手に分かれると思うんだけど、なんかそのマイクロチップが導入されたことによってさ、なんか捨てにくくなった、自分のペットを嫌だからって言って捨てにくくなったっていう考える方法もあれば、もう一つの考え方としては自分のペットが、万が一どっかにいなくなったとしても自分の元には安心してまた戻ってこられるって考える方法もあるからね。どう捉えるかは。
I definitely agree with the microchip. I think that makes like perfect. Aside from the difficulties I have in my situation where it's very like nuanced, generally speaking, I think it makes a lot of sense. Something I don't completely understand is that in America, with the whole cat problem, it makes sense to me why we're like having this mass murdering sprees with all these stray cats, because people let their cats go outside and that's just normal. In Japan, from my understanding, is that's not the case. but there's still a crazy amount of strays. So am I supposed to understand that there's just people, like all these cats without owners are just people giving away their cats? Or is it that stray cats are so crazy that they just multiply like madmen? Or is it both?
いや、both じゃないかな。ね。どうなんだろう、なんか。
And then if that is the case, so if that is the case, right? Like let's assume, because there was a whole discussion about this whole stray thing, which is like, yeah, ideally, if you have a cat, you should keep it indoors and, have it live as a house cat because it's better for the environment, et cetera, et cetera. But if we're in a situation like Japan, where I realistically think most people probably keep their cats as house cats, like it's just you don't have the space, there's, it's not a thing. And if that's not a solution, if keeping your house, your cats inside because nobody has any space isn't a solution, then I think wouldn't the only other solution be like aside from like trying to sterilize all the cats, you go around killing cats? Like how else are we going to reduce these 2 million cats massacring all these species?
いや、もうそれこそさ、もう増えちゃったもんだからさ、もう最終的に本当に残虐なやり方としては、まあなんかそれこそなんか殺処分になっちゃうとか、あとどうなんだろうね、なんかあるじゃん、例えばさ、外来動物がさ、まあ日本に入ってきちゃって、で固有のそのまあ日本の絶滅しそうなまあ、動物たちを殺しそうになっちゃった時って大体なんて言うんだろう、殺処分っていうかさ、
you can kill off a certain amount, like they hire hunt, they pay people, like they did it with the sorry, go ahead.
そうなんだろう、そうなんて言うんだろうね、猫がそういう脅威になった場合はそういう手もまあいずれかはね起こるんじゃないかなっていうのはある気がするけど。
I just cannot imagine that. Like, even as a dog person, like I said, I still just people on the street was just gunning down, like, hunting rifles. In Japan, they wouldn't do that. I don't know how you do it. It'd have to be the police. The police just like shooting cats left and right. I think technically the thing is you have to sterilize all the cats you do see. But I don't know, just recontextualizing how many strays there are in Japan, despite the fact that people generally, like, I feel like America, if it could get to the spot where people have as many house cats, with just like Japan does, that would be great. But knowing that even that isn't good enough, I'm just starting to think, like, what actual options do we have? A lot of cat owners will say that, we should focus more on environmental other problems, but I just think that's like there's no reason. It's like, ¿por qué no los dos? Why not both? You don't know the meme, but don't worry about it. It's a taco commercial. Don't even worry. People who know. But so I always think like you're just saying, hey, cats aren't a problem because I like cats, and that's a whole separate thing. So I'm not entirely sure to do that. Definitely, if you guys know more about this specific issue, I'd love to know. But I do want to talk about this specifically, which is, is you like being a dog person? Do you think a thing unique to you, or do you feel like the majority of people have the cat love? And me personally, I feel like anytime online, it's only cat memes. You got, the most famous cats, the neon cats. I don't know if you know what neon cat is. And maybe we're going to have it be the thumbnail of this episode. It's like this cat that's like a Pop-Tart as its body flying across through space. Are you aware of the cat? Or like, even like the way of speaking where people say, nantoka nyan, nyan dakedo. You know what I'm talking about? That cat speech. There's no dog speech. You say, I've never heard one. I've never heard one. Somebody goes, are you wanting? When's the last time you won? This is propaganda.
I've never nyanned before, though.
You've never nyanned? I've never heard of one. What do you replace one with? The wa? This one? That's actually pretty good.
違う、なんか
This one. This.
なんかニャンとかはなんかそれこそさ、なんかぶりこってるイメージだからさ。
So yeah, I'm just saying. So do you feel you are obviously in terms of number, cats are higher, but it is more even than I think. But I feel like there is a overrepresentation of cats. Do you feel that's the case, or do you feel like the? Sorry, go ahead.
どういうこと？周りでどっちが多いかってこと？
No. No. In terms of like media, like online, like presence. Yeah, like social. Memes, neta.
でもさ、ミームでさ、なんだっけ、 結構前だけどさ、なんかドージのさ、
Oh, there is the iconic Doge, but that's not a
ドー
Jap.
ジ
Is
とか
that?
もあ
It
れ。
is a Shiba Inu though.
あれ、柴
But it
犬で
is
しかもさ、フェノメノだったじゃん。But that was before cat ミームじゃない？
I guess I'm talking about. I mean, that is true. I was specifying, but I was kind of talking about in terms of the Japanese sphere. But it is true that Doge is a Shiba Inu, but I don't actually know about the lore enough to know how that extended.
あれ、確かなんか有名人、あれ、イーロン・マスクだっけ？あ、違うわ。あれ、イーロン・マスク？
Oh, yeah, that was Elon Musk. But who made tweets about Dogecoin.
そう、ツイッターかなんかで、なんか、その、写真をなんかツイートして、そっから、イーロン・マスクもなんか、こんなの面白いと思ってんだ、みたいなで、またなんか、再ブレイクしたみたいな。確かそんな感じじゃなかったっけ？
That's actually a good point. Is Dogecoin, I think Doge, the dog might be more popular than Nyan Cat. So does that mean that because of total shares, dogs actually have more of a presence online? Am I just crazy? I mean, I really feel like between cat girls and like people don't say dog girls. And like it's not a thing.
なんだろうね。
There are dog girls, but people say cat girls and it's neko mimi. It's not inu mimi. It's neko mimi.
なんだろう、猫の方がさ、やっぱりさ、そういう、なんだろうね、真似するときとかにちょっとまあ可愛く聞こえるじゃん。なんかなんとかニャンニャンみたいな、なんかこんな変なつけてさ。でもさ、ドッグだとさ、
that.
ドッグだとさ、ウォウウォウとか言われてもさ、そんな別に可愛い心くすぐるようなさ。
Excuse you. I find dogs cuter. Cats give me Machiavellian evil energy.
How do you say? なんて言うんだろう。なんか音的にもさ、なんか、ワンワンって、その、真似したときに、その、まあ、言語化したときにさ、なんだろう。ちょっと攻撃チックな感じがあるじゃん。でも、ニャンニャンとかされたらさ、
You think the onomatopoeia game isn't strong enough for dogs? You think the onomatopoeia game is not strong enough for dogs?
うん、だと思うよ。基本的に。だって日本
Do you have any alternatives that we could potentially try to make more popular? For any dog onomatopoeia?
少なくとも、なんて言うんだろうね。なんか、キャラクターとかでさ、可愛いなんか犬のキャラクターとかもね、それこそ豆柴っていうなんか豆のビーンなんだけど柴犬なんだけどね、そういうキャラクターがあったりとか。まあでも猫も猫でさ。
I mean, I do think there's a fundamental thing here where do you think big dogs would be like, for example, Spy Family, we have Big Dog. But Big Dog does not exist in Japan. But oh gosh, what's his name? What's the big dog's name in Spy Family?
Bondo.
Yeah. I feel like is the only reason, like, because here's the thing, and I'm not hating small dogs, but I don't believe the essence of a dog, if we're talking about some philosophy real quick, don't worry about that. The central form of a dog is a small dog. I feel like the small dog is the least dog of dogs in terms of how doggy the dog is. And so I don't know, if using Shiba Inu's presence is actually a point to the dog camp or a point to the cat camp, because it's a little too, I don't use the word cute, but it's a little too not powerful.
なんだろう、なんか結構日本人がまあ犬とやってることの印象としては、なんかその例えばなんか犬専用のページを開いたり、インスタグラムで犬のアカウント作ったりでその自分が飼ってる犬たちにさ、なんかいろいろ着せたりとかさ、なんかトイプードルだったらなんかなんかマグカップの中に犬を入れてみたりとか、なんかそういうのをできるのってさ、やっぱりちっちゃい犬じゃん。からなんかそれで可愛いって言うんだったら、
I disagree with that John. That John, I disagree with. You can definitely have cute big dogs. That's what Bondo's a cute big dog.
No. You don't get what I'm saying. So like トイプードルとかさ、カップの中に入れられるでしょ。だからカップの、じゃあそのカップの中にでかいの入れられますかって言われたら絶対できるわけないじゃん。でもそういうちっちゃい犬たちだったらさ、できるでしょ。
Yes. Although you could make a cute, big dog trying to get their hand in a cup. and then that would make a cute picture.
まあそれをどうされるかはまあ個人の自由だ
Do
け
you
ど
know do you know if like dogs like Great Danes or like pit bulls and things like that are illegal in Japan? I'm just wondering. It's so rare that I'm starting to think like, is it like a pit bull? Can you own a pit bull in Japan? Do you know? I know there's something like England. They were trying to ban one. I can't remember if it was a pit bull or not.
ピッポーって何？
It's a very aggressive looking small dog.
あ、
with
ピ
like
ットブルか。あれか、ブルドッグ？
Yeah.
あ
Can you
あ
own those in Japan?
た
Like
ま
or
に
Rottweilers?
たまにね、
Is that the name?
ブルドッグ飼ってる人見たことはあるけど、そんなに見たことないかもね。
I feel like Japanese people just like the wolf. You know, they made extinct all the any dog or dog adjacent thing that had killing potential.
あんまそうね。ブルドッグあんまりあれだね、見たことないわ。でも結構アメリカだとブルドッグ人気だよね。
Yeah, we have a lot of I would say mass American no hate, you know, because we love all the dogs. But I feel like a lot of dog owners, it's like owning a big car. It's like what is the word? It's gender affirming care. If you're familiar with that.
Gender affirming.
Gender affirming care is something you get when you want to make yourself feel more comfortable in your gender. So some of it has to do with like, you know, hormone treatments and things like that. And so in my opinion, things like having a big truck are gender affirming care for men. Where, you know, you get a big truck to make yourself feel more masculine, or you get a strong dog to make yourself feel more masculine. Well, other people might not refer to it as gender affirming care, but I do. But that's a whole separate conversation. Let us know what your new onomatopoeia is for dogs. I know this conversation went a whole bunch of different directions. You know, that's what you get here at the Lazy Fluency. With lazy, we have an idea, but who knows where it's going while we're doing it. And then, you know, maybe also give us some cat onomatopoeias if you want. Or you know what? Send us some dog pictures. I want, you know, next episode of the end of comments, we'll put some dog pictures, we'll put some cat pictures. The cutest picture, I don't know what you get. You know, the cutest picture, whoever sends the cutest dog or cat picture, we'll put it on our Twitter. That's what we'll do. Or Instagram or whatever. We'll post it. Lazy Fluency that you want our cute dog picture. Yeah. Send them in. 戻りました。
We're back?
今回、マナーロードというゲームにちょっとハマっちゃった。まあ、ハマっちゃったっていうか、まだ出てないから、まあ多分1週間後にハマると思うんだけど、あゆみはマナーロードについて何も分かってないと思うんだけど、マナーロードはそのインディーゲームという、で、なんか一人の人が作って、なんかすごく大きな、中世ヨーロッパの、シティビルドというんだけど、街を作れるゲーム。でも同時に、RPG でしたっけ？RPG じゃなくて、なんか言葉忘れちまった。もうとにかく他の国と戦える。でもこのゲームなんか面白い特徴は、その街を作ってることはなんか単純になんか家を置くんだけじゃなくて、そのなんか全部をなんか無から作らないといけない。多分なんか酒を作りたかったら、まずその、麦畑を作らないといけないし、で、まあ、なんか他の材料も用意しないといけないし、で、バー作らないといけないし、で、それぞれの、市民も自分のなんかハピネス度があって、で、なんかすごく細かくできてるし、で、なんかその街を作ってから他の、街と他の国と戦うって感じ。なんかすごく壮大なゲームなのに、なんか一人の人が作った。一人の人がすごい。
So it's like Catan, like in real, ビデオゲーム？
すごく、そうだね。なんかカタンの、まあカタンもちろんは、カタンの方が簡単だけど、そういうイメージ。で、なんか服も作る。で、そのゲームがそのスタートするときに、自分の市民は服がなくて、まあちょっとだけなんかパンツみたい。なんかそれぐらいあるけど、それ以外何もない。なんか家作らないといけないし、なんか服も作らないといけないし、で、服を作るために革とかも用意しないといけないから、その動物殺さないといけないってこと。で、
wow,
なんかそう、まあ細かいけど、なんか Aussie Drongo という YouTube 動画なんか Age of Empires エンパイアの動画を作るけど、最近マナーロードの動画を作ってて、でなんかやばい、なんかこの問題なのはその Age of Empires だけじゃなくて、そのゲームになんかハマる時に他のことなんかできなくなる。そのいつも自由時間がある時に、これやりたいなと思うから。でも今なんかそのもちろんメインチャンネルの動画編集してるから、でそろそろ日本に行くから、こういうゲームがリリースされてる、なんかリリースされるとマジでやばいことになるから。で、こういうこと感じたことあるの？ゲームとかなど。ゲームはあまりやらないから、こういうなんか本当にハマっていて、このこと以外何もできないみたいな。
No.
どうしようできないの？なんかこういうなんか何かが楽しすぎてなんか夢中してる。なんか番組とか言うとか。
No, nah. I mean, like I said, I've never like played any video games when I was a kid, and
ほんないよね。
I didn't read, so I didn't have like specific book that I liked. So yeah, I don't have anything that I was like crazy about. So I don't know. I don't know how that feels.
なんか YouTube シリーズわかんない。あるはず。なんか、こういうことがあるからなんかこういうことやりたいから勉強に集中できないとか。
Nah. No.
言うもなんか次のなんかエピソードアップロードなんか出てたんだけど、今勉強しないといけないから見れない。で、なんか
I mean, I'm like
本当に
I'm a kind of person like who does like how do you say like なんか先に reward で後から oh okay so like till this time I can watch something and then after I watch the thing and then I can like go back to like studying とかなんか、
まあそれわかるけど、まあアニメに関してはそれはできる。なぜかというとなんか毎週一つのエピソードしかなくて、それは20分だけ。なんか時間は制限されてる。でも、そのゲームに関しては永遠にやれるから、逆にすごく難しい。その、
I mean,
なんか制御できない。ちゃんと。
I don't get like, ね、the like how people can play video games for 8 hours or like, you know, like whole day. I just don't understand.
私はやれない、それはちょっと無理。
But there, yeah, certainly people who do that. And then I know like some people who are really addicted to video games, and then they even failed exams, so they had to repeat the same year.
医学でもそれはビデオゲームの問題？
Yeah. So like I know this person, like I guess like he plays like video games like for I don't know 8 to 10 hours a day. So that
ちなみに携帯のそれともなんか
I don't
パ
know.
スコのやつ。
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but yeah.
携帯じゃないといいね。
Yeah.
携帯ゲームやったことあるの？
No, I would like it too.
なんかその単純なんかガチャガチャみたいな。
I don't find playing games fun.
そんなことないよ。私は分かってる。ゲームやったことある。ピクミン楽しいと思ってるでしょ。
Yeah, Pikmin is yeah, fun for sure. But like
で、
if I have
ボード
to,
ゲームは友達がいるときは悪くないでしょ。
yeah, like if I have to play every day, I think I'll get tired of it. Like if it's like once or twice a week, then yeah, that is really fun. Yeah.
なんかこういうバランスの問題は大変、個人的に。多分話したことあると思うんだけど、その今棚の上に置いてあるゲームいくつかあって、でそのゲームをやりたいけどやり始めるともう一度ハマっちゃう可能性がなんか非常に高いからそもそもやらない。
うん。
で、どうやってこのバランスを取れるかという疑問をまだ解決できるかどうかまだわからない。どうやって。でも、あゆみは手伝ってくれないというか、こういう経験。私変なのかな、そんなに変。普段、あゆみは実は私は普段よりゲームやらない人だと思う。こういうゲームの棚はすごいんだけど、それは子供の時ほとんど。でも最近はそのゲームを、1週間に、最後にゲームやったのは、ビデオゲームやったのは多分、日本にいた時。なぜかというと、そのゲームをやり始めると、ハマっちゃうから。
You're just trying to keep yourself away from playing video games?
いや、それよりも、このメインチャンネルの動画を終わらせようとしてる。今、何でしたっけ忘れてしまった。任天堂の RPG、なんとか RPG。日本で買ったやつやりたいけど、始めると、最後までやりたい。で、最近1週間後に前に話したんだけど、スーパーペーパーマリオの新しいペーパーマリオ千年扉かな。出るから。で、もちろんマナーロードも出るから、ジョイは試されてる気がする。もうやばい。
You gotta get back to editing the main channel.
いや、まだ何もやってない。今は心配してるだけ。今は編集してるけど。でも、もちろん娘などあったら、リスナーさんたち、あゆみは今手伝ってくれないから、どうやってこういうバランスを取れるかについて知りたいから、ぜひぜひ教えてください。And we're back with the final section. And if you made it to the final section, that means send an email to lazyfluency@gmail.com with a comment, question, language related, and or otherwise. And this week we have 2 questions, and the first one is from Oddity. Hayes, I took it upon myself to check stats for what kids want to be when they grow up in Israel to make things interesting. The latest survey I found is from 2016, ages 6 to 15. The top 5 places in order are athlete, scientist, high-tech person, teacher, doctor. Very unimaginative. Also, high-tech person is really not far from nondescript company employees. So while I wholeheartedly agree with Joey's take on the findings in Japan, I'm thinking the policeman response can be explained psychologically. Kids that have no agency and autonomy, with many aspects of their life controlled and restricted, they are constantly forbidden from engaging in activities they desire. To them, police officers represent authority figures, who are not only portrayed as performing supposedly heroic acts, but also possess the power to direct adults, who are the ones typically imposing the restrictions on children. Who wouldn't want that kind of power? Nevertheless, Baker is still first place, which means more than a megalomaniac or megalomaniacal maniac? I don't know. Oh, maniac? Whatever pronunciation. Need to control reality. Japanese kids prefer to just eat cake. I couldn't agree more. As for the abysmally depressing wish of parents for their children to become faithless technocrats, it reminded me of Kurosawa's Ikiru, which tells the story of such a komuin. The thing is, Kurosawa managed to put a wonderful Japanese philosophy spin on it, which elevates the dreary circumstances of such a job into something truly spiritual, which is to say, it's precisely in the Japanese tradition to find profound meaning and beauty within seemingly mundane or bleak conditions. But I'm mostly idealizing, because I bet these parents are mostly thinking of a steady, secure income rather than some spiritual uplifting. Thank you for the comment. Ayumi, do you think that people are viewing komuin as a profound meaning in the ordinary, or do you think it's more about a steady, secure income?
何あれ最初のやつ何て言ったっけ？Securing income の前に何て言ったっけ？
do you think it is because of the profound meaning and beauty within seemingly mundane or bleak conditions? Or do you think it's the secure income, steady income? Do you think it's like, what is the word? 物の哀れ。
人の捉え方も違う。
書類やってる時の。So go ahead.
と思うけど、なんだろう、公務員がさ、その国に使えるとか、それこそなんだろう、内閣に、内閣で働く、そのなんとか省とかなんとか庁とかの、職員だったらさ、結構それって、なんだろう、タイトルあることだし、そういう人たちも一応公務員だからね。だから、
what do you think they're thinking when they think 公務員? Like what do you think is the, obviously we don't know, but I'm saying what do you feel like if a parent is thinking 公務員, what they actually have in mind? Or do you yeah.
なんだろうね。
You know, for men it's easy, you know, サラリーマン, right? Like サラリーマン, but I'm wondering like, but that's not 公務員 necessarily. So I'm wondering what is there a role that parents have in mind? Maybe not the children, obviously, but the parents.
だからその公務員ってさ、当たり障りのないさ、まあ職でもあるし、それこそさ、さっきも言ったけどさ、なんとか省なんとか庁とかね、政治の内閣に関わるさ仕事だったり、それすごく名誉がある職だって考えてる人も多いから、なんかなんていうのね、公務員って言ってもさ、いろんな職があって、学校の先生だってもう公務員だし、市役所で働いてる人も公務員だし、言っちゃえば総理大臣もあれ公務員だよね、多分。そうだから、広く言えば公務員だけど、その中でもいろんな職があるからさ、どういうイメージを持っているかっていうのも人によって違うとは思うけど、なんだろうね、私たちの周りで言ってる公務員っていうのは、多分なんだろう、地元の市役所で働くとか、あんまりなんて言うんだろうね、そのピラミッドの上じゃないけど、中間下の方で働いて、でそんなにリストラされることもなく、将来安定して安泰に暮らせるような収入を持てる職のことを指してるとは思う。
Have you ever had anybody in your classes, I'm wondering, want to be the president? Like, and have you ever known anybody who the kid they want to be president? I've had, and I think America's kind of a meme, but I feel like everybody's had, there was that person in their class who wanted to be their goal when they're 35 is to be the president. I'm wondering, have you ever encountered such a person?
なんかそれってあれじゃない？なんか小学生の男の子がちょっとギャグでさ、総理大臣になりたいみたいなのを、卒業アルバムの最後のページに書くみたいな、そういうノリじゃないの。本気で考えてる人はいないと思うけどね。
Oh, I mean, there are people, I definitely can say, at least with my school, there's somebody who was dead set, and who knows, we'll see if he attempts to. I don't think I would vote for him. It depends, actually. I don't know what his political stances have evolved. I don't know what this person's doing at all, but I know there was somebody who's pretty serious, or at least at the moment. I would say that even in Japan, I feel like even the current prime minister I don't feel like he wanted to be the prime minister, which is how things transpired, because Abe's assassination, and I remember wasn't it someone before Kishida, or was it Kishida and then
岸田さんの前はだって安倍さんじゃないの？
No, but wasn't there like a transitionary, like somebody was Kishida supposed to be the transit? I swear there was supposed to be some sort of, was it a vote, or did the cabinet just choose somebody else?
Vote.
I will say that Kishida is at least doing stuff now. Like, actually, I now can actually name things. Like, I wasn't able to name anything that Abe did, other than have conversations with Trump. But I can actually name some things that, Kishida's done. And he's actually done some stuff that's the first time, it's unprecedented in Japan, for the last 17 years, like the whole Rishi no koto interest rates.
安倍さんね、
I mean, just on a, sorry, go ahead.
確かに私もよくちょっと政治にそんな詳しいわけじゃないけど、安倍さん首相やったの2回で結構長いんだよね、任期が。でしかもなんていうんだろう、安倍さんってあんまり目立ったことはやらないけど、でもなんていうんだろうね、その今の現状を維持するっていうか、悪い方向にはいかなかった気がする。で人結構さ、なんかそれこそ今までのアメリカの大統領とかと結構友好的な関係も築いてたりとかっていうイメージはあったけどね。
So in that sense, he was ideal. He did nothing, but that's what the Japanese will want.
いや、私もちょっとね、調べないとちょっと申し訳ないけど分かんないけど。
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm totally down to hear he didn't do nothing, but if you can't name a single thing he did, then I feel like for the general people, like, my point is, if you don't know that if he did anything, then the way I take it is, well, then the citizenry is fine with the president doing nothing, if that makes sense. Like in the US, if you know this already, but if you ask an American about any, if it's like a whole thing, it's a whole, like, I don't even think I don't think even talking about the president's controversial in Japan. It's just so incredibly boring that I don't think people would want to, right? It's not like taboo, right? Is talking about politics taboo in Japan?
タブーでは
I
ない
think about it. It's just like so どうでもいい。
タブーに近い気はするね。なんでかっていうとさ、そういう話題って絶対なんだろう、まあ対立っていうかさ、いろいろするじゃん。で、日本
Would you though?
人の
Like, do people know enough?
日本人のさ会話ってさ、大体なんて言うんだろう、あんまり対立をなんだろうね、できるだけ避けたいとか、和を乱すものはダメみたいな感じだから、多分そういう話題をすること自体があんまり良しとされてない。うん。
Also, this was actually relating to the police thing because I think Oddity was largely saying like your perspective, which I think makes sense. To be clear, I was kind of playing up my surprisedness in the last episode. Something that there was a comment made by Shawcox was talking about how they introduce police a lot of times in like elementary schools. Well, they'll let you like play like here's the taser and then here's pepper spray. And here's the inside of the police car. Get inside the back of I'm not even kidding. I've done this before. They put you in the side of the back of a police car and you try opening the door and you can't. It's like a thing that they bring to like elementary schools. And they've also had like anti-drug program like DARE, where they bring police officers into schools and stuff like that. Are there any events like that in Japan where like, you know, police officers come in, terrorize children, but it's an event?
テロ？どういうこと？
No, that was just my perspective. They're not actually terrorizing children. Sometimes they actually are, but like the idea is to come in and to introduce police to the, who knows what the goal really is, but they'll basically like show off. Maybe it's to get police officers recruitment to show how cool being a police officer is. You know, you'll see the gear, you see the inside the police car. Was there anything like that in your elementary experience? Have you been in the back of a police car for fun?
はないけど、あれなんだっけ、ファイアファイターの消防車はある。
Well, that's completely. I'm offended that you even put them in the same. I know they're related, but firefighters are just saving. Firefighters aren't even like pay. Like they're like a lot of firefighters are very local. Like the one for like the I'm city I'm in, we don't even have. It's all volunteer.
待って、ポリスあるわ、あったわ。あった。パトカーの中、ちょっと乗ってみようみたいなあったわ。そうだ。あと、救急車もあったかな。ちょっと記憶が多分あったと思う。違う。なんかね、救急車のことを知ろうみたいな感じで中身見せてもらったりとか、確かあった気がする。
And then our second comment was from Shawcox, and this is a question that only IME can answer. Because it's about our section last week, which I thought was going to be about butterflies. And to be clear, if anybody knows what I was thinking about, I thought that the name of like the tube-like mouth of a butterfly was called stoma. Apparently it's not, and I'm dumb. Does anybody know what I was talking about? It was about plants? There's some word I feel like stomatic or something that's like a tube, anything. But anyways, Shawcock's comment is, My dad had one of those colostomy bags. He really liked it because he could see exactly when his coffee went through him. I think it took about a minute and a half. We have a very detailed-oriented relationship. Now his colon is all in one piece, so no more bag replacements. Now, I might be wrong, but I was pretty sure he changed his bag on his own. Is that a thing? I feel like I remember him talking about the hardcore sanitizing with it, but I could be wrong. He was in and out of hospitals for chemo, so maybe the bag replacement happened then. Any more poop bag info from IME?
はい。
Any more poop bag info from
なんだろうね、私がまあ訪問看護で見てたやつは、なんかまあそれこそね、まあ高齢者のまあ腸を切っちゃったりとかなんとかがんとかね、わかんないけどね、それでまあ腸がなくなまあその部分なくなっちゃって、代わりにお腹のどこかにまあ、出口を作るストーマンを作った人たちが結構いて、で、なんだろうね、穴って言ってもさ、全部が平らで、プープバッグが密着することはないんだよね。まあ皮膚ってさ、まあそれこそもう、まあ細胞だし、まあ組織だからさ、まあ平らじゃないわけよ。で、そうするとさ、なんだろうね、そのバッグとスキンの間で できちゃった、空間から中身が漏れちゃったりとかねっていうのもあるから、そこをなんか看護師さんがなんかちょっと工夫して、なんて言うんだろうね、なんかテープ、粘土っぽいやつをなんだろう、へこんでるところに埋めて、なるべく皮膚に
Wait, they're putting big paste or some clay-like substance in your...
そうで密着するようにね、今こうなってて間が空いちゃってるから、そこを埋めて、であと周りをテープで貼ったりとか、あとなんだ、それこそ多分自分でお風呂入るってなってもさ、テープ貼ってある下とかをさ洗えないじゃん、その時はついてるから。そこをこうバッグ交換するときに石鹸かなんかでちょっと上洗って、でそうね、バッグ交換してとかね、やったりしてたね。うん。
Also, just let me hold up. He's saying if it took a minute and a half for the coffee to go through him, that means like
それは
you
違
get
うと
dehydrated
思う。
very quickly
それ
or
はね
something like
それは
like
ス
what
ト
I'm
ー
wondering,
マ
can you
ー
like drink water? Like if you're running, like what happens? You drink water and then it fills up the bag and then you can't run. You can't like if you're sweating, or maybe that's completely different. I have so many questions.
そもそもさ、なんて言ったらね、インテスティング、ラージインテスティングとかってなると、そこに、食べ物とか水分が到達するためにも、確か6時間とか8時間かかるから、一気多分このチョコックスが言ってるやつ、これストーマーわかんないけどさ、
Colostomy bags.
これ飲んだ瞬間に流れるのはありえないと思うね。
It probably doesn't make sense biologically, but it makes sense to the dumb brain, the Joey dumb brain. I can imagine it. You know, you drink the coffee, it goes right through you, and then it comes out your stomach because we're bypassing it. I know that's not how it works.
これあれじゃない？あれじゃない？ストマックって言ってもさ、胃の方のストマックだよね。多分インテスティンの方じゃないと思う、この
Oh, yeah, you're right, because yours was the stoma was.
このストーマは胃に作るやつっていうのは、例えば栄養
Wait, so is that lower? Where would it come out of your stomach? Would it be like near your groin area?
まず胃に作るなんかなんだろう、ポート作るやつっていうのは、口からご飯食べれない人が胃に穴を作って、その胃に直接栄養わかんないけど、それを入れるために作るわけであって、胃から何かを出すために作るやつではないから、プープが出てくるのはあれだからね、ラージインテスティンの方だから、で何を示してるのかよくわかんないけど、ここで。けど胃に作るのはインテイクするためのやつ。
I think you can tell that you're probably the only medical professional here. So our understanding. I just got introduced to the world of stomas. Oh, now I mean, I don't want to look this up, but now I'm wondering: is it a fetish? Could it be a fetish? Could stoma be? I feel like I don't know. There's fetish potential there. That's all I'm saying. I feel like there's people who are probably into that.
それはちょっと beyond my
I don't know. Now that's the only thing I think about. Now that I had the thought, and I'm not going to elaborate, but I feel like anytime I'm not even saying. If you know what I'm thinking, you know what I'm thinking. If you don't even worry about it.
いやでもね、多分想像してるやつだとさ、なんて言うんだろう。ストーマ作った場合だとさ、なんて出口を閉める筋肉がないから、そのままだから、そのプープがそのまま流れてくるの。わかる？インテスティンってさ、前動運動って言ってさ、英語なんていうか知らないけどさ、自然ずっと自分で動いてんのね。でも普通の人間ってさ、 勝手にうんちは流れてこないじゃん。で、なんでかっていうと、お尻、肛門、エイナスに、自分の意思で、調節する筋肉があるから、走っててもなんていうの、うんちしないとかできるんだけど、でもこのストーマの人の場合、
So for the intestines, I never thought about that. Yeah.
括約筋っていうその出口を閉める筋肉がないから、腸の前動運動したものがそのままそのリズムで出てきちゃうから、自分の意思で調節できないのね。
Yeah. Well, that was more than hopefully you guys learned something. I don't know how you can apply this knowledge. But that's, like I said, that's what you expect at the Lazy Fluency.
Too much information かもしれないけど、わかんない。
This is the kind of information that you need in your Japanese and English. Thank you so much for the comments. That bell means we reached the end of today's episode. Thanks for joining us, another lazy conversation towards fluency. If you have any language-related questions and are just looking for general advice, send an email to lazyfluency@gmail.com and we might respond in the next episode. Also, consider supporting us on Ko-Fi to get video updates, Discord access, and/or to just lend a hand. And finally, make sure to check out our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and more. We'd appreciate the support. This has been Joey.
And Ayami.
Signing off. じゃあねー。